You do everything right. You buy the good television, you set it on the wall, and you never once drop it or spill on it, and it still dies in year 3. Here is the uncomfortable truth. It is almost never the big accident that kills a modern screen. It is 8 small, quiet habits, and most people do at least 4 of them without ever knowing. Today I am counting down all 8, worst last, and number 8 is the one repair shops see most and owners never suspect. Let me say who this is for. If you just spent real money on a set you intend to keep for 10 years, this is the video that keeps it alive that long. And if you have owned the same television for 3 or 4 years and it has started acting tired, slow, or dim, some of what I am about to name is very likely why. I am not here to sell you anything. Everything I tell you to do costs either nothing or almost nothing. That is the whole promise of this channel. No wasted money. And there is one more thing worth saying before we start. Of these 8 mistakes, one of them lands a television on a repair bench more than any other. It is not the cleaning one everyone worries about. It is quiet, it is invisible, and I will name it before the end. Keep it in the back of your mind as we climb. Number 1. You clean the screen with glass cleaner and a paper towel. This is the mistake almost everyone makes because it feels responsible. You see a smudge, you reach for the blue spray under the sink, you grab a paper towel, and you wipe. Here is what you cannot see happening. The front of a modern screen is not glass. It is a thin coating, a special layer that cuts glare and protects the panel. And it is soft. Think of it like the factory sunscreen on a brand new car. Glass cleaners with ammonia or alcohol dissolve that layer a little more each time, and a paper towel, which is wood fiber, drags fine scratches across it. You do not notice at first. Then one afternoon the sun hits the screen and you see a permanent cloudy haze and tiny scratches that will never wipe off, because the protection is simply gone. What to do instead is almost insultingly simple. Turn the television off so you can see the marks. Wipe it with a dry microfiber cloth, the kind that comes with reading glasses. If a mark will not budge, dampen the cloth, not the screen, with a little distilled water. Never spray liquid onto the screen itself, because it can run down inside the frame and short the electronics. The one-line version. The screen does not need a cleaner. It needs a soft, dry cloth and a gentle hand. Quick gut check before we go on. If you just felt a small jolt of, "Oh no, I have been doing that," you are not careless. You were never told. That little jolt is exactly the moment to do one kind thing. Tap the like button. It costs you nothing, and it pushes this in front of the next person about to spray cleaner on a television they cannot afford to replace. And if you want the rest, subscribe, because keeping what you own working is the entire point of this channel. One word in the comments. Guilty? Just type yes. I read every single one. Number 2. You press on the screen, or you let someone else. A child points at a cartoon and touches it. You lift the television by grabbing the screen instead of the frame. You dust it a little too firmly. Here is the problem. The panel of a flat television is built like an eggshell laid flat. Enormously strong across its whole face, shockingly weak against a single point of pressure. Push one spot and you can leave a permanent black blotch, a spreading cluster of dead pixels, or a hairline crack under the glass that spider webs over a week. And this is the part that hurts. A cracked panel is not a repair. Replacing the screen itself runs around 70 to 80% of the price of a whole new television, which is why every honest shop will tell you to just buy a new set. And a cracked screen is almost never covered by the standard warranty, because they call it accidental damage, not a defect. So treat the face of the television like it is wet paint. Carry it by the edges, always. Teach the little ones to point with the remote, not the finger. The one-line version. You cannot repair a cracked screen. You can only replace the whole television, so never let anything push on it. Number 3. You are watching everything in vivid mode, and you do not even know it. Almost every television ships set to a mode called vivid, or dynamic, or sometimes store. And it looks amazing in the shop. That is the entire reason it exists. A store is a brutal place for a screen, full of harsh overhead lights, so the television is set to scream as bright and as colorful as it possibly can, just to be seen from the aisle. Then, you bring it home into a normal living room, and it is still screaming. Here is the mechanism. Vivid mode runs the backlight near its absolute maximum all the time. That is like driving your car everywhere with the engine redlined. It burns more electricity, it runs the panel hotter, and that heat quietly ages the screen faster, which matters most on an OLED, where the picture itself can dim over the years. It also makes films look wrong, cartoonish and over-sharpened, nothing like what the director intended. The fix takes 15 seconds, and it is free. Go into the picture settings and choose Filmmaker mode, or Movie, or Cinema. The first thing you will think is that it looks too warm, almost yellow. That is normal. Your eyes have been staring at a cold blue picture for years. Give it 3 days. You will never go back, and your screen will run cooler and last longer for it. The one-line version. Vivid mode is a costume the television wears for the store. Take it off the day you get home. Now think about what these first 3 have in common. They cost you picture quality and a little life off the screen. Annoying but survivable. From here on, we cross a line. The next mistakes do not just tire the television out, they are the ones that end it early. So stay with me, because this is where the real money is saved. Number 4. You leave a still picture frozen on the screen for hours. The news channel with the logo in the corner and the headline crawling along the bottom. The video game left paused on its map all afternoon. The screensaver that is actually just one photo that never moves. On an OLED television especially, this is the classic path to what is called burn-in. Here is how it works. Every tiny dot of light on the screen ages a little each hour it glows. When most of the screen changes constantly, they all age together, evenly. But when one bright shape sits in the same spot for hours, day after day, those dots wear down faster than their neighbors. Like a footpath worn into a green lawn by people always walking the same line. Eventually, you see a faint ghost of that logo or that scoreboard left behind on every scene. And it does not wash off because it is not dirt. It is uneven wear. The habit that prevents it is easy. Do not leave the television frozen on one image and walk away for the afternoon. When you are done, turn it off. And turn it off with the remote, not by killing the power at the wall, because the remote lets the television run a quiet cleanup cycle in the background that evens the wear back out. The one-line version. A moving picture ages evenly. A frozen one leaves a scar. Quick gut check. We are halfway and notice something. Not one of these fixes has cost you a cent. That is deliberate. Anyone who tells you that protecting your television requires a special kit they happen to sell is reaching for your wallet, not helping you. If that idea is landing, this is a good moment to subscribe, because next I am naming the 2 mistakes that genuinely end televisions early. And then the silent number 8 I promised you, the one the repair shops see more than anything else. That is coming right up, and it is almost certainly sitting behind your television right now. What is the brand of the set you are watching this on? One word in the comments. I am curious how many of each we have. Number 5. You leave it running all day as background noise. The television goes on when you wake up, and it does not go off until you go to bed, whether anyone is watching or not. It fills the quiet. I understand it completely, but understand what it does. A screen has a working life measured in hours of light, not years on a calendar. Leaving it on for company is like leaving a tap running all day because you like the sound of water. The television does not know nobody is watching. It just keeps burning through its hours, generating heat, drawing power, aging every hour it glows for an empty room. On an OLED, that means real dimming years sooner than you needed. The gentle fix keeps the comfort and saves the screen. Use the sleep timer, the one setting almost nobody touches, and set it to click off after an hour or two of no activity. Most televisions can even turn themselves off when they detect no one is there. The one-line version. A television that is always on is not keeping you company. It is quietly spending its own life. Number 6. You boxed it into a tight cabinet, or you hung it above the fireplace, or you put it in full sun. This one is about heat, and heat is the silent enemy of every piece of electronics you own. A television needs to breathe. It vents warmth out of its back and top, and it needs open air around it to do that. Trap it in a snug cabinet with no gap, and it is like going for a run in a heavy winter coat. It overheats, and constant heat cooks the components inside and shortens their life. The fireplace is worse still because now you are adding a heat source directly below it, plus soot drifting up into the vents. And direct sunlight through a big window does double damage. The heat and the ultraviolet rays, which over years can actually fade the panel and warp the plastic casing, the same way the sun cracks a car dashboard. So give the television room. Leave a few inches of open air on every side, especially behind and above. Keep it out of direct sun or close the curtains at the brightest part of the day. And if it is over the fireplace only because that is where the wall space is, know that you are trading years of its life for that spot. The one-line version. A television needs to breathe and it needs shade. Do not smother it and do not roast it. Number 7. You hung it on the wall yourself on hope and 2 screws. Wall mounting looks clean and saves space, and there is nothing wrong with it, done right. Done wrong, it is a disaster waiting for a quiet afternoon. Here is the danger. A modern 65-inch television is heavier and more awkward than it looks, and a wall mount holds all of that weight on a few points. If those screws go into hollow drywall instead of the solid wooden stud behind it, you have built a shelf held up with tape. It may hold for months. Then one ordinary day, with nobody near it, the drywall crumbles and the whole television comes off the wall and hits the floor. And now you own the cracked panel we talked about back at number 2, the one that is not worth repairing. So if you mount it, do it properly. Use a stud finder to locate the solid wood behind the wall. Buy a mount rated for your television's size and weight, and drive the bolts into that stud, not into empty plaster. And if any of that makes you nervous, this is the one job where paying a professional a little is far cheaper than replacing everything. The one-line version. A television on the wall is only as safe as what is behind the wall. Find the stud or hire the help. And now, number 8. The quiet one, the one I promised. The one that lands more televisions on a repair bench than any single item on this list. And the one almost nobody ever suspects. Because you cannot see it, you cannot hear it, and it leaves no mark until the day the screen simply goes dark and never comes back. Here it is. You plugged your expensive television straight into the wall, with nothing protecting it. Let me explain why this is the killer. The electricity coming into your home is not the calm, steady stream you imagine. It surges and dips constantly, tiny spikes of extra voltage every time a large appliance switches on, bigger jolts when the power flickers in a storm or comes back after an outage. Think of them as potholes in the road you cannot see in the dark. Your car can take a few, but hit them again and again, year after year, and something eventually breaks. Inside a television, that something is the power board, the part that feeds clean electricity to the screen. Each surge stresses it a little more until one day it gives out. And here is the cruel part. When that board dies, the television looks perfect. No crack, no mark, nothing. It just will not turn on. The owner assumes the whole set is finished and hauls a 3-year-old television to the curb, when the real cause was a $2 problem they never saw. The fix is the cheapest insurance in your whole house. Plug the television and the streaming box and soundbar with it into a decent surge protector, not just a plain power strip, a real surge protector, and let that cheap block take the hits instead of your screen. Now, in the name of honesty, a surge protector is not magic. It will not save you from a direct lightning strike, and the protection inside it wears out over several years and needs replacing. So it is not buy it once and forget it. But for the small money it costs, it is the single highest value thing you can do to keep a good television alive to year 10. The one-line version. The thing most likely to kill your screen is invisible, and it comes through the wall. Stand something cheap in front of it. So let me hand you the whole list in a shape you can actually carry. Group these 8 into 2 piles. The first pile is the mistakes that quietly wear the screen out before its time. Cleaning it with the wrong stuff, pressing on it, leaving it in vivid mode, freezing a still image on it, running it all day for an empty room, and roasting it in a hot, sealed, sunny spot. Fix those, and your picture stays good and your screen lives longer. The second pile is the 2 that end a television suddenly, mounting it on hollow wall with the wrong hardware and plugging it into the wall with no surge protection. Fix those 2, and you dodge the phone call to the repair shop entirely. Wear versus sudden death. That is the whole video in 6 words. Now here is your 30-second check. And you can do it tonight without any tools or any knowledge at all. Walk behind your television and follow the power cord with your finger, from the set all the way to where it plugs in. If it ends in a plain wall socket or a basic power strip, you have just found this week's job, and it is the most important one on the list. If it ends in a real surge protector, good. Now check the little light on it is still glowing, because that light going dark means the protection inside has worn out and the block is now just an expensive extension lead. 30 seconds. No screwdriver. That one trip behind the television tells you whether the most likely killer on this entire list is handled or not. A few last free tips while you are up. First, get in the habit of turning the television off with the remote, not by flicking off the strip, so it can run its own quiet maintenance. Second, set up 2 picture presets if your television allows it, a brighter one for daytime and a dimmer, warmer one for night, so you are never running it hard in a dark room. And third, ignore the overpriced television cleaning kits and the fancy expensive cables the big electronics stores love to add at the till. This is me calling out a shop I otherwise like. A soft cloth, a little distilled water, and a plain certified cable do everything the costly versions do. Save that money. And if you are sitting there unsure whether your own television is worth protecting or already too far gone, do not guess. Tell me in the comments the brand and roughly how old it is. Just the brand and the number of years, and I will give you my honest read on whether it is worth caring for or worth replacing. That is what these comments are for. I read every one. So that is the 8. And now you know the quiet one at the top of the list. But knowing what not to do is only half of owning a television well. The other half is the handful of settings you should change the very first day you plug a new one in. The menu the store quietly hopes you never open. The one that decides how good your picture looks for the next 10 years. That is the next video, and it pairs with this one exactly. I will see you there.